Hello, my dear students. I'm sure you went through my previous episode where I suggested to you to make a collage of your life 10 years from now. I'm sure some of you would have done it. I'm very excited to do this episode, which is part 2 of the previous episode. We are discussing the concept of the law of attraction, how you can attract anything that you want to your life. I'm excited because I'm going to give you 3 examples, a real-time example. One concerning a student whom I counseled a couple of years ago, long ago. Two, about a president of the United States, how his dream came true. And third, in my whole life, how my dream came true. Let me give the example of a student. A couple of years ago, somewhere in 80s, I was heading the personal HR function of an Indian company, TVS, Sundaram Clayton. When a parent came to me and said, "Sir, I have a problem, can you help me?" I said, "What's the problem?" He said, "I have my son who is in the 8th standard. Somehow he is not able to focus all his attention on his studies. His attention is getting diverted hither and thither." I said, "Let me talk to him." So over the weekend, I went to his house. I was casually talking to that student. To start with, I said, "How are you? What are you doing? And what are his hobbies?" And he was telling his hobby is listening to music. And I said, "I also like music." And we kind of got emotionally together. Then I asked him, "What's your dream? What's that you want to become?" And he said, "Sir, I want to become a doctor." Then I asked, "How big a doctor?" He said, "I want to have the biggest clinic in Chennai." I said, "That's very good." I'm talking about beginning of 1980s, middle of 1980s sometime, when there were not huge multi-speciality hospitals. Then I said, "Let us do an interesting thing. Can we make a collage of your dream?" He said, "Yes." So I asked him to collect all the old newspaper, magazine, and said, "Let us cut and paste." So we collected all the old magazines, scissors, gum tape, Fevicol, a big chart paper, and my friend also joined, and this boy's sister also joined, and we started working seriously. You know what he did? He took the picture of LIC building and fixed it at the center, and he said, "You know what it is?" I said, "What?" "This is my clinic. This is my multi-speciality hospital." I said, "Very good." Then I said, "What's your house?" Then he searched all the magazines and he selected one, which is the Rajaji Bhavan. He took that and fixed it at the corner and he said, "Sir, that's my house." Fine. Then we were looking at various pictures available, and there was one, a big queue was there. Maybe they were collecting their ration, or they were, maybe, I don't remember what exactly, what's the big queue was there. He cut that picture, that queue, and pasted it in front of the LIC building. And he said, "You know what is this? They're all patients waiting to see me. Sir, I'm such a busy doctor." And then he did something more interesting. He took a photograph of himself, old photograph, and fixed it at the right top corner. And he was looking around, and there was an old stethoscope. He said, "My uncle's stethoscope, sir. We used to play a doctor's game with this." And he fixed that around his photograph and said, "That's me." And then we did various other things, this picture, that picture, and we had a good gala time. Then I told him to frame this and keep it somewhere. Couple of months later, my friend told me that there is a big difference in his son's now attitude, and he has become all of a sudden very serious. And slowly he picked up very good mark grade. And you know one thing, he is a very successful surgeon today, and he has his own clinic, a huge clinic. You know why I'm sharing this? This is the law of attraction I'm talking about. Here's a case where he made a collage. Exactly this is what I asked you to do. Let me go back to United States. I was seeing a small little clipping. This is by Richard Stratton. He was the president of Students' Union in 1963. In the same college, Bill Clinton was also studying. I have given the link to this clip. You can see it after looking at this. You can see the details of what I am going to narrate just now. Sometime back in July 1963, exactly 24th July 1963, in the Rose Garden, this person, Richard Stratton, along with all his friends and Bill Clinton, the student Bill Clinton, they had an opportunity to meet President John F. Kennedy. They were all waiting to see John F. Kennedy, and the clipping will very clearly show that old scene once again. And he goes on shaking hands. John F. Kennedy shook hands with everybody, and he shook hands with Bill Clinton also. And there is one particular photograph, Bill Clinton looking at his hand as though thinking, it has made such a big difference, I won't like to wash my hands even because I'm emotionally touched. And the story goes that he went and told his friends that one day he will become the President of the United States. And this is the story of Bill Clinton. I suggest you go through this story. The point I'm trying to convey to you is you have that power inside you, that magic inside you. Whatever you dream, whatever you visualize, in NLP we talk about visual constructed picture. Visual constructed picture, that means it is not yet there, but you are visualizing in your mind. This is exactly what I told you to do in the previous episode. This second example. The third example is very, very interesting. This is my old notebook. I used to carry always this notebook. This notebook says this is my idea book. I called it as my idea book. If you see the date, it is 21st July 1995, and I used to carry it wherever I went. And one day, on 7th of December 1995, I was traveling from Karaikudi to Madurai by a passenger train after doing a two-day program for an organization there. So I started writing all that I wanted to do in my life. So in this, the item number 19, it says a school at Thiruvallur. For some reason, I wanted to start a school in Thiruvallur. I had no land. I was not an educationist at that time. I was working as an executive and I was giving some free lectures. But this was working in my mind for a long time. Sometime around the first week of 1996, my good friend Begum Chanjain and me, we were talking, and the idea of this school where all of you are studying, Sri Aram Jain Vidyashram group of schools, came to our discussion, and this school came on that day, and this idea of this school came on 7th December 1995 when I was traveling from Karaikudi to Madurai. This is another example of how you can attract things to your life. I would also like to quote one more example. Sometime back, a couple of years ago, this was after our beloved Dr. Abdul Kalam retired from the presidency of India. And there was a meeting in Chinmaya Vidyashram, Chetpet, where he had invited a lot of students from various schools and colleges. I was there as a journalist, as a writer, editor of Vanamayallai. And Dr. Abdul Kalam was giving a beautiful inspirational speech to the students. I still remember an anecdote he was giving. He said it was his practice to meet students almost every day, wherever he is. About 100, 200 students he will meet, wherever he is. And he said one day, he was in Hyderabad, he met a group of students who were all tribal students. He asked all the students, what is that you want to become in life? And each student said, I want to become a doctor, I want to become an engineer, so on and so forth. And one student stood up and the student said, Mr. President, people say this world is beautiful, but I do not know because I am blind from birth. Mr. President, he was still addressing him as Mr. President. Do you know my dream? I want to become the first physically challenged President of India. And Dr. Kalam said, he became very emotional. And he started following this boy. And this boy completed his school. He went to Boston, MIT he joined. And he did his MBA, got a good offer from a good company there. And the company gave a very attractive job to this boy. And Dr. Kalam said that day, this boy replied to the company, my dream is to become the first physically challenged President of India. I'm going back to my country. If you don't become a president there, perhaps I will come and accept your job. In fact, all of us became very emotional that day. This is dreaming. This is dreaming. I have given these examples in many of my seminars. In fact, in my organizational interventions, I used to ask the executives to make a collage of their dream company in 5 years, 10 years time. My dear students, this is an amazing opportunity for you. Complete lockdown. You cannot go out anywhere. Go through my yesterday's episode and make up your collage, frame it, sign it, keep it. You can also send it to me my WhatsApp. I will post it on my FB. This episode is very relevant to my school, but share it with all your friends. It is relevant to any school, any student. It is based on the question I asked you to ask yourself, what is the best possible use of my time right now? So get back to your collage, complete it. All the best.
SRMJV is not just a school, it's a one-time experience.
VM Nagar, Tiruvallur,